I've been visiting projects in many parts of Europe, but this is the first time I get the impression, not just the impression, but I have the certainty that the ESF and the ERDF have been used, A, very usefully, and B, have been touching or almost every single aspect of the life here in Gibraltar.
Tell me a bit about the actual visit and the projects that you've seen.
Well, the program that was prepared for us included visits to projects financed both by the ESF, so European Social Fund, and by the ERDF, European Regional Development Fund. So we visited two training centres, and then we visited a very innovative project on the in the southern part of the island, called the EcoWave project, where this is a project which produces a small amount, but still quite substantial amount of energy through wave power.
What about the actual running of the EU funding programme on the Rock? What have you managed to see of what happens behind the scenes?
Well, personally, I haven't seen the behind the scenes, but I've of course talked to people who are behind the scene and who make it happen on a day-to-day on a day-to-day basis. And what I can tell you is that I believe that the people behind the scenes are very committed. And I'm not so sure they're actually behind the scenes because they're quite visible, and I think they really do an amazing job at ensuring the funds get to the good and to the projects which will benefit the economy.
At the press conference today, you mentioned an elephant in the room. For such a small room, I think there's more than one elephant. The biggest is, of course, Brexit. What happens to the funding till 2020 when we already have this programme and in future?
Well, everyone will understand that we live in times of uncertainty. So I think we need to recognise that. I think that we need to wait for whatever negotiations and whatever agreement will come at the end of the discussions. The main objective is to continue working on EU fund implementation. It's to ensure that the projects get launched, get implemented, and that we get that we get results. In funding terms, the agreement is that the EU funding will continue up until Brexit happens, and after Brexit happens, the EU Chancellor of the Exchequer has said that it would guarantee co-funding of projects which will have been launched by the time of Brexit, and after that, what happens is pretty much speculation at this point in time.
You quoted President Juncker as having said that Brexit is a tragedy, and you've said that in Gibraltar, perhaps even more so of a tragedy. What do you take back with you?
What I take is that the European Union has made a substantial contribution to Gibraltar development, and it would also be remiss of me not to recognise what I have heard over the last 2 days, which is that most, if not, most of the people here in Gibraltar are Europhiles. They are very attached to the European project, and I think it's fair to say that people are quite saddened by the outcome of the referendum.